Star of Little People, Big World Amy Roloff has seen a great lot of adversity in her life, including a dramatic divorce from Matt Roloff. It's probable that she still has feelings for her former partner. Amy appears to be experiencing emotional conflict when associating with Matt and his new fiancée, Caryn Chandler. Even though she has moved on from Chris Marek, Amy's heart was broken by Matt. Did it ever truly mend? She desired to be his wife indefinitely. She's got a new boyfriend now, but the shadow of the past is still there. Amy could still be in pain and wishing that things had gone differently in her life. She could say Caryn ruined it. Season 25 star of Little People. Big world. Since Amy's life hasn't always been easy, it's only reasonable that she experiences moments of bitterness and jealousy. On screen, though, it seems like Caryn is suffering more than she ought to from Matt's engagement. On August 28, 2021, Amy wed Chris, and it appears that she ought to be over Matt. But it's obvious that she's really uncomfortable talking to Caryn. Amy is definitely plagued by the initial impression of Matt and Amy's connection being dubious. Amy longed to stay with Matt forever since she loved him so much. Caryn destroyed her entire existence. It was heartbreaking to witness Zach Roloff go through a catastrophic health crisis during the Little People Big World Season 25 premiere. His excruciating headache was an indication of something more serious. The shunt that was placed in his skull to relieve pressure wasn't functioning properly, therefore he required surgery. But the drama was even greater. As Amy processed the news of Matt's decision to ask Caryn to marry him, he and Caryn informed her that they intended to leave Amy whatever portion of the property they owned when they died. Honestly, it was very sad when Amy responded, "Okay, let's see the ring." Perhaps that thoughtful gesture was intended to ease the pain of hearing of the engagement. She was clearly attempting to tough it out while being sad and concerned about Matt and Caryn's engagement. She has said that she makes an effort to see Caryn. She must be exerting a great deal of work since she feels like she was betrayed by Caryn. Caryn first connected with Matt while working at Roloff Farms. Amy apparently became quite outraged when she discovered lewd texts between the two. Everything was so cruel and painful. Amy's marriage to Matt, which had lasted for 28 years, dissolved in 2015. It is obvious that Matt fell deeply in love with Caryn. Amy is a wonderful lady, yet it would take a saint for her to not have animosity for Caryn. The second woman was a terror. Amy has acknowledged that she and Caryn will never be friends. But Matt is the main driver here. The one who was married to Amy was him. Caryn, however, knew just how married Matt was. Both are therefore at fault. People fall in love. Things happen, and it may sometimes be quite harmful to fall in love. Amy's marriage was ruined by Matt's passion for Caryn, whose motivations are frequently questioned. Obviously, especially when he's in love with someone else, Matt shouldn't continue to be married to a woman he doesn't love. But what Matt and Caryn did to Amy was really cruel. Consider Amy's emotions upon discovering those covert communications. It had to be excruciatingly painful. Unfortunately, Amy also occasionally has to deal with Caryn. She has had to confront some difficult realities regarding Matt. If Amy didn't have to be courteous to Matt's partner, life would definitely be more enjoyable. Amy courageously takes on her necessary tasks, mostly for her kids' sake. Amy may still harbor feelings for Matt, but she had the bravery to let go of him. Amy is an inspiration to see how tough she is and how much she has accomplished in spite of many obstacles, including her dwarfism. Not everyone treats small people with kindness. Amy did, however, earn a degree in business. Additionally, Amy spent years working with Matt at Roloff Farms, trying her best to win over a guy who was frequently tense and challenging. Matt argues that he has endured agony his whole life. He has greater health problems than Amy due to his type of dwarfism. A person's mood will suffer from chronic pain. There's a lot to deal with. Amy is a wonderful cook and a devoted mother. Her pumpkin salsa is a favorite. A devoted wife. She was Matt and she met at a small people's convention. The same year, they were married. Amy must have thought that was straight out of a fairy tale. Virgo, the pragmatic Matt, who is a Libra, may have become bored with Amy since she wasn't romantic enough. Maybe there was just no chemistry between Matt and Amy. Amy, on the other hand, was unaware of Matt's extreme discontent. It caught her off guard. Despite her occasional grumpiness and bossiness, Amy is actually quite compassionate when you take into account all the stress and misery she's had to undergo. The way she is attempting to handle everything has a certain heroic quality. Maybe Amy's generosity is undeserved by Matt and Amy. They might not recognize all of her wonderful qualities. Chris Marek of Little People, Big World, and viewers hopefully do. It's possible that Matt and Caryn are lying to Amy about their intentions to sell the land. One day, Matt promised his boys they would be able to inherit the property. Rather, Matt made them an offer. He might take Amy in the same way. Even before Caryn entered the picture and put the last nail in Matt and Amy's coffin, their marriage was far from ideal. Matt was more vulnerable to an affair because they already had issues. Amy felt like Matt cut her down a lot. It seems as though he had no real regard for his wife, who is the mother of his kids. But there's no valid excuse for not honoring Amy. Amy isn't a nasty person. Amy did her best to be Matt's mother and to make him happy. She's continuing acting in that manner. She must be having a hard time being cordial with Caryn. Zach had a recent health problem and she was there for him. Matt was not present. Amy is the one who maintains order. Matt is more adamant. He's content with Caryn, but perhaps he ought to exercise greater caution. Amy ought to be on the lookout as well. After becoming well-known, these two little individuals found themselves in the arms of average-sized grown-ups who fell in love with them. Amy and Matt could be being taken advantage of. Amy and Matt are well-known, powerful, and wealthy. Maybe it was more sincere and genuine when Amy and Matt fell in love. Matt could come to regret abandoning Amy and having such faith in Caryn in the future. Alternatively, he could be content in a covertly transactional relationship. Are these average-sized folks truly in love with their partners who are little people? They might, but it's also plausible that they don't given the level of suspicion around their intentions. Long-term, they could be able to pass for someone else for their own benefit. They could have a fondness for their partners, but not a passionate love. Beyond Caryn and Chris genuinely loving their significant partners, there are a plethora of additional options. Matt tried to claim credit when Amy came up with a recipe for pumpkin salsa, which they eventually sold as one of the farm's goods. That's probably not what a loving husband would do. It's unclear why Matt felt he had to take credit for his wife's inventiveness. Perhaps he feels intimidated by success experienced by others. The commotion over the pumpkin salsa was a warning sign, a very bad one. Amy's culinary prowess has helped to maintain her visibility in the public today. She is the owner of a cooking book. Does Amy manage to overcome Matt's pessimism and impediment once more? Another time, Matt believed that Amy had made a mistake in picking a dude ranch vacation location, so he decided to leave early and inadvertently injured his wife. Yes, it's possible that the guy ranch wasn't the best fit for him. He was probably accurate when he said that his mobility issues prevented him from enjoying himself there, but he didn't really give a damn about Amy's feelings. He was, and still is, a very self-centered person. That explains Matt and Zach's conflict. Because of the farm sale, his kid feels as though he was burnt. Amy seems to have lost a man who wasn't truly in love with her. It's not a huge loss as it might appear. But she spent decades with this man, and they had children together. She had assumed he loved her, of course. Why wouldn't she? It must have stung so bad to accept that Matt only wanted to be rid of her. She can still feel the pain. She deserves pity if she is in love with Matt, since he is not in love with her. He is not going to return. The famous words of Austin Powers, "That train has sailed." It's possible that Matt evolved or that he was never truly in love with Amy. Perhaps he was always acting, like one of those eerie guys in dramas about startling and covert adultery. Amy recalls Matt as a sweetheart, which is the issue. It's what she is missing. She may overlook it perpetually. Although Matt seems like a good man, he has a history of grave errors in judgment. It's possible that many individuals are unaware of Matt's past cocaine addiction. Many individuals struggle with addiction. Fortunately, Matt, who was frequently patronizing, was able to kick the substance. His prior cocaine addiction, though, reveals a daring side. He was also detained once on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. Maybe Amy did like Matt's bad boy qualities after all. Many women find it enjoyable to be in the company of overconfident, bad-acting males. Some women, for instance, write letters to inmates who have been found guilty of heinous crimes. Though it's conceivable that Matt's bad boy characteristics aren't the reason she misses him, it's still feasible that Matt gave her the thrill she's been longing for. When Amy is with Caryn and Matt, she appears depressed. It cannot be disputed. Her anxiety is plainly visible. Amy has acknowledged how uncomfortable and hurtful the conversations are. She feels as though she is fighting a never-ending conflict. It must be psychological anguish if she is still in love with Matt. Maybe these signals are going unnoticed by Matt. He could be able to sense the suffering of his ex-wife. That might be the reason he suggested leaving the farm to her. Amy can have feelings for both Matt and Chris. Individuals are complex. Amy will occasionally reflect on the past, even though Chris is a wonderful spouse who makes her feel secure and cherished. She will undoubtedly draw comparisons between her present and former partners. Amy could feel, deep down, that her relationship with Matt was more significant. In the current season 25 of Little People, Big World, Matt and Caryn are creating their ideal house. It appears to be going to be a stunning rancher sans stairs. It's the ideal house for a little individual. But he will never give it to Amy, another little person. Matt will share it with a woman of average size instead. Amy must be thinking, what if, in light of all these significant events in Matt's life that she is unable to experience with him? Matt and Amy's house. If Caryn hadn't worked at Roloff Farms? There's a lot to take in. There's a